I'm a pretty bad kid.
And they gifted Nathan in the Stone. Yeah, that's ref the district. Come on now and join us.
Let's go.
And they gifted
We are
Nathan in the Stoner. Yeah, that's ref the district.
that's the podcast.
Come on now and join us.
You join in. Yeah, let's talk about the bigger picture. Let's talk about how we be ballin', playing with the Wizards. Let's talk about the Nets and how they always got good pitches. Let's talk about the cats on rescue, turn them boys to winners.
Injuries and updates, oh yeah.
To the opponent, we stand toe to toe, yeah.
To the top, this podcast gonna go, yeah.
I think it's something you should know, yeah.
And they good with them all-season stats, that's a fact. And they can give you the season recap, yeah. You know that's for a fact,
yeah it is.
And you know we got our team on our back,
we
to us no other team can match, cause our team is way better.
We the best one.
Never be under the weather, W with the best ladder.
It's the best one.
We love Washington, and we some die-hard fans.
Yeah, we are.
And you know we keep it on 10. Let's talk about the offense.
1, 2, 3, let's go.
And they gifted
We are
Nathan in the Stoner. Yeah, that's ref the district.
that's the podcast.
Come on now and join us.
You join in.
I'm a pretty bad kid.
Yeah, let's talk about the bigger picture. Let's talk about how we be ballin', playing with the Wizards. Let's talk about the Nats and how they always got good pitches. Let's talk about the cats on rescue, turn them boys to winners. Injuries and updates, oh yeah. To the opponent, we stand toe to toe, yeah. To the top, this podcast gonna go, yeah. I think it's something you should know, yeah.
Greetings and salutations. I'm Nathan Perry. This is Ref the District. Joining me as always, it's the Stoner. What's up?
What's up, fellas? Long time no see. It's been like a full 24 hours.
Yeah, not even. And we have Trevor. Woo. How's my man Trevor doing?
We're good. Same old day, mic issues, but I'm here.
Hey guys, this time last week, you guys fired me from the show. You brought me back for Day After Reckoning, and then we did the Philly cast.
We didn't fire you. That's front office stuff. We're just we don't have any control over that.
All right. The EP fired me, which she did. She straight up was just like, "It's your fault. Get off. Let them do the cast." Thankfully, those issues have been resolved mostly for today. So we do stream this live on our YouTube channel, Ref the District, every Thursday at 7 p.m. rather. I know we're running a little bit late. We're especially running a little bit late if we're talking about 7 a.m. But no, we stream live on our channel 7 p.m. on Thursdays. And of course, we also do the Day After Reckoning for after Washington football games. But we're also on your favorite podcast platform. And if you can do me a favor, if you're an Apple user and you enjoy this podcast and you enjoy listening to this podcast through Apple. So Trevor is showing us his phone right now. So he is, and it looks like Stoner is. Looks like I'm the only green boy in here with the Android. But if you are an Apple user, do us a favor and go out there and give us a rating and a comment. So what that does is it does help other people find our podcast, and so we would really appreciate that. So we love that. We love doing this podcast, and we actually really enjoy doing talking sports in general. And we Stoner mentioned we were here just less than 24 hours ago, and that's because we were on another podcast. And Stoner, why don't you talk to us about that?
Yeah, we went on the podcast with DSMMedia. DSM stands for and I already forgot what it stands for. Do something major. I think it's do something major.
Yes.
DSMMedia. We went on with them last night. They have a Philly-based podcast, and they wanted to talk NFC East. They wanted to talk Washington football, and they also wanted the perspective of what outside people thought of Philadelphia, their team, their coach, who we call the clown, their quarterback situation, which is the worst in the division and one of the worst in the league. And we had a good time yapping it up with him. It's not?
Phil, sorry, shots fired a little bit, but yeah.
Burgundy and gold. Burgundy and gold.
Oh. That's a whole
so burgundy. If you hear us call out burgundy and gold, it's not just our lovely color scheme for the Washington football team. It is now also our reminder for Trevor, who tends to have some mic issues on the show, but it's all right. He brings up some excellent points, and we love the dude. And it's a really easy fix. So if you hear us shout burgundy and gold, it's just teasing Trev there. Trevor, what did you think of our show last night on DSMMedia?
It was a lot of fun. We all four of us, I thought, kept it real, like from a realism point of view, not only just as fans or biased fans, but it was a lot of fun. Got some insight of what to expect for them this season, and it's kind of cool because he admitted that we're probably going to go ahead and sweep them this season and get 2 wins out of it. So
hopefully not being gifted. Hopefully not being gifted. It was fun. Victory there.
And so that cool. we don't short Phil. The name of his particular show is Trending for 4 Quarters. It's a part of DSMMedia. I just want to make sure we get that out there because he did a great job of promoting us, and we got a lot of great response, a lot of feedback from other Philly podcasters, Philly fans, things like that. So yeah, I didn't want to short him and his specific name.
Yeah, absolutely appreciate Phil for having us on. It was a blast to be able to talk football with the enemy there. I don't want to talk with the enemy tonight, though. I want to talk with my friends about this preseason game that we have coming up on Saturday, which 2 of the Ref the District members will be there, I believe.
Yeah, that's. I mean,
Stoner, you're not going to be there. Trevor, you're going to be there because Trevor has to come because he has to pick up his Apple EarPods.
Okay, hold on. See, this is why you need to go to Team Apple and get rid of the green squad of Android. They're called AirPods. Okay.
AirPods.
Apple EarPods.
Yeah. You know what they're currently called? They're currently called mine, Trevor.
Yeah.
So,
but they can't work with your Android, so you can still have them.
They do no good for
it's
you.
Jazzy's second pair because my wife is Team
EP gets
Apple.
Nothing.
She is banned from wearing.
Especially if it's mine previously, I will not. No way.
So it sounds good. So yeah, Trevor and I will be there. So if you happen to go to the game, hit us up, let us know, and we'd love to chat with you and talk. So let's get into this preseason game. This is the third and final game. Ron Rivera has expressed that the starters would play. Do you think that we dial that back a little bit?
I don't think they're going to play. I know he says they're going to play. I don't know that I'm buying it. I think he's probably preparing them to play. He wants them to prepare as though it's a real game, and then I don't even know if they're going to play at all. This is different. We've never had a 3-game preseason. We've never had 2 weeks off from the last preseason game to the first regular season game. So this is all new. So it's experimenting. It could change tomorrow. He might just say tomorrow, we're not playing anybody. We're just going to play our second, third, fourth guys to battle for those last spots. Who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah, JP Finley reported earlier today after practice, Rivera was asked about potential playing time for starters, and his response was enough. So,
well, yeah, what does that mean?
Enough.
Yeah,
so he's very vague. So I'm with you, Stoner. I don't think they're going to play a lick. At least not the main starters like Terry McLaurin, Chase Young, Montez Sweat, Adam Humphrey.
Yeah, they'll dress up, but maybe not see the field for any kind of action. I think that's fair. I think that we've seen quite a bit from the headliners that we can keep them healthy for game one, even though there's 12 plus days between Saturday's game and the first game.
Yes,
so
15.
I mean, there's 15
days. Yeah.
Yes. So there's considerable time for people to get healthy. Curtis Samuel.
Hey, why isn't anybody
not gonna see?
Why isn't anybody panicking over Curtis Samuel like I am? I'm completely panicked over this situation.
Why?
Because he's had one practice since May, since the OTAs. One practice. Don't give me this that he's familiar with the offense. That's not the same thing as getting out there and practicing and getting your timing down, getting your familiarity with your other receivers and your quarterback, obviously. I'm panicked.
Okay.
Burgundy and gold.
Burgundy gold.
Every time you want
while Trevor fixes his microphone, the one part that's worrisome there for me is the timing with Fitzpatrick.
Right.
That's the only part. I think that you brought this up on the podcast yesterday. Like there was no game time, there was no preseason last year, and players were just fine. So I think that's the only part that I want to. I think that you're probably going to see a slowly developing for Curtis Samuel with Fitzpatrick. So I think that's the only part that worries me. Outside of him not playing, the guy's going to be ready. He's going to run. They can get him the ball in various means. What are you looking like this for?
You
didn't want Terry you both didn't want Terry McLaurin to play after he caught one ball. Now Roger Smith is watching our live YouTube. Thank you, Roger, for chiming in. He says that the starters need to. The O-line needs to get on the same page as far as pass protection with 3 new starters.
That's fair.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, that's fair. But Curtis Samuel, again, he has keep the Ferrari in the garage until it's game day. Maybe he practices. Hey, maybe he gets that rapport going after this preseason. He starts practicing for these next 2 weeks. Maybe that was the plan. Maybe.
Well, listen. If that's the case, then that will ease my panic mode. That will bring my level down from maybe down to a 3 or something like that. But right now, I'm up at about a 7 or 8. Because why hasn't he practiced?
One of the other reasons why I'm not really concerned about this either is This is it's a groin injury, which can be quite bothersome. But here's the thing. We didn't have, as fans, we didn't have him last year, right? Washington didn't have him last year. So are we outside of the $10 million, which we didn't see anyways, are we missing anything?
No.
Logan Thomas, you expect to improve. You got De'Ami Brown, who's an exciting rookie. You have Terry McLaurin still out there. Cam Sims, who knows what we really have in him. He hasn't looked as good. Yeah, he hasn't looked as good, but he's a lock. He's a lock to make the roster.
But still, you have planned for this other weapon. This guy will take he will take the pressure off these other guys. You want him in there. You want him practicing. Look, if he practices next week, I'll be fine. But he's had zero. Well, he did practice the first day that he came off the list. He practiced very light, but that's the first time he's practiced since the first week of OTAs, and whenever that was, April, May, I don't even remember what that was. And it's taken him this long, and everyone's just like, don't worry, it's nothing serious. Well, if it's nothing serious, how come he can't practice for 6 months?
He hasn't missed game time.
Not yet. You're right. Let's hope. Just watch it, just keep an eye on that. That's all I'm saying. I don't like it.
All right. So we're not going to see him Saturday anyway.
No, we're definitely.
Out of the players we will see Saturday, who is somebody that you think needs to show up and play their heart out? Otherwise, they end up with Hemingway, at Safeway, bagging groceries.
Hemingway at Safeway. Well, listen, if it was up to our executive producer, Jazzy, then she would want Logan Thomas out there every down so he can improve.
She said Logan Thomas needs to improve here on our live chat.
That's after he gets 90 balls, then she can finally quiet down about that.
I'm gonna go ahead and say Taylor Heineke, bro. He needs to prove that he can be quarterback number 2, because I've got a nice, interesting dollar bet later on for this evening, but that involves this competition. Yeah, but I think honestly, because I'm pretty sure it's probably gonna be him and Kyle Allen for the most part of this next game Saturday. So I think if Taylor wants to prove that he can either be a starter or a quarterback too, he's got to play lights out and not just do the same old tuck and roll. Like Kyle Allen is not.
I'm really tired of every play looking like it's a broken play with Taylor Heineke. It's beyond frustrating. Kyle Allen's not much better in that regard. He's another young guy who likes to tuck it and run on occasion. We'll see. I personally, I would. Right? I don't. Steven Montez. We don't need to see any of Steven Montez. Let's see more Taylor Heineke and more Kyle Allen to see who's going to be QB2, because it very likely really could be Kyle Allen. As
I'm
much
rooting
as those
for him.
Heineke howlers, the Heineke Hive might be rooting for him. Washington loves their backup quarterbacks. Roger says AGG is somebody who needs to ball out. Do you think he's? I feel like with the recent cuts in wide receiver, that AGG is probably a lock for the team. But do you feel like he's more on the bubble than some others?
I do personally, because I actually was reading
Burgundy and gold. And it's always when he wants to make a point too. So we get
It's always when he's got. I know he's got like a great point lined up, and it's just like we had this thing before Trev joined our show, that anytime Stoner tried bad mouthing Washington, something bad technically happened. Like it was just like he froze. Or like his mic stopped, and so I had to vamp just like I'm doing right now until the tech issue was fixed. And I feel like this is happening to Trevor right now. Anytime he wants to make a point, against the team, they were like, "Nope, we got mic issues." There's Jason Wright is sitting there at his computer watching us right now, and he's got buttons, and he's like, "Nope, Trevor's about to talk," and hit that button to move. You need to throw that doll away. That doll
already unfollowed a bunch of people on Twitter, so I guess they want to do that to me with my microphone.
Right. Well, you know what? When you talk about guys like AGG, Heineke, and Allen, these end of the roster guys, the guys that won't even dress on game day, those are interesting to talk about. But I've said this for years and years and years. If AGG is in the game playing significant amount of time, if Heineke, if the fifth cornerback, if the fourth tight end, or whoever, if they're in the game and playing significant minutes, then this is a 3-13 team. This is a season that has gone off the rails, and that's the same with any team, right? These guys are end of the roster, fringe roster guys for a reason, because they're not as good as the guys at the top of the roster. So it's fun to talk about, but AGG, if he makes a team, is not even going to dress unless somebody's hurt. He's not even going to be out there on game day. And guys like him. And if they have a fourth tight end, if Reyes does make the team, or Ricky Seals-Jones, or the 9th offensive lineman, or the 10th, you know what I'm saying? These guys, we don't ever want to see them in a game. We don't want to see them because something has gone wrong.
Yeah, Ron Rivera was also quoted today saying that it's going to be really tough because he's got to figure out, of course, who can contribute now and who can we keep that can maybe help us in the future, and which one's more valuable. So let me ask you guys that, since he asked that question. What do you think is more valuable? Keeping players that win now, like majority, or keeping some that are preparing us for the future along with the ones that come in now? Like, what's more valuable?
For me, I don't give two whats about the future. I want to see what happens this season. I want to win this season. Then we'll figure out next season. So
is that because we won the NFC last week? Is that because we won the division last year?
That's every year. Okay. It's every year. I don't care about guys who
you go in every year looking to win.
Yeah, I just want to win this year. We'll figure out next year. There's no less than 36 brand new guys on this roster than the roster that we finished with in 2019. That's a huge turnover. If you said in 2019 we want to have all these guys and try and figure out the future, well, half of those guys are probably gone because they're not the future if you were planning it that way. So there's every year there's roster turnover. There are some guys you want to develop, but get the guys who are going to win right now this year. That's all I care about.
Okay.
I think that there's a balancing act to be made with this. I don't think you just go for the guys who win now because you need to be able to help yourself in the future. But if there's such a sizable gap between the guy who's going to help you win now and the guy for the future, then you're going to go with the guy who wins now. But if that gap is closer, so like AGG with maybe DeAndre Carter's probably better at going to help win now, but AGG might be more of the future, then you go with AGG because that gap is not as large as somebody like McLaurin and AGG, right? Or Curtis Samuel, the reason why you sign a guy like him compared to AGG. So I think they'll be interesting. We got a hot take in the comment section right now. AGG will be known for being Ron's first bad pick as head coach for Washington.
Oh, wow.
I mean, he's a fourth rounder. Is that right?
Fourth rounder.
He's a fourth rounder.
I'm going to say Derek Forrest right now.
Well, I mean, Derek Forrest was a fifth rounder. Again, these guys fifth round, sixth.
Khalil Hudson is another later, more fifth rounder. That's not, if
they make
hot.
the squad, that's a bonus to me. Guys in the first 4 rounds are ones you kind of count on to be contributors at some point. But after that, I mean, that's just gravy. After that,
that's just that Cam Curl jinx that we got. That's what it is, man. I think it's what it is.
Burgundy and gold.
Burgundy and gold. Cam Curl definitely set the bar pretty high for seventh rounders going forward for Washington. So that part is definitely heard. Now, Stoner, you said that you talking about these guys are pretty interesting. These late late roster people. We do have a special project we're going to be talking about in the post game, or the cool down, as I'm suggested to name it. I leave the show for one day, and these guys try to change the whole thing. Right. But during the post game, we're gonna talk about that special project. Isn't it important though to have that depth?
Yes. I mean, it's obviously it would be great, but would you rather? Let me just ask these are almost what kind of rhetorical questions? Would you rather have Terry McLaurin out there or AGG? Would you rather have De'Ami Brown or AGG? Adam Humphries, AGG. Cam Sims, even AGG. You don't want him in the game. But if he has to be in the game, I guess you would hope that he's a little bit better, but then he wouldn't be barely making the team or on the bubble if he was that good. So, yeah.
I feel like Cam Sims, though, last year was a wide receiver who was kind of on the bubble and ended up being a fairly significant part of the offense.
Well, I don't think
what little offense it was.
Yeah, last year he was like the number 2.
That's what I'm saying is put into that position. Obviously, Cam Sims is more of a wide receiver 4, possibly even better as a wide receiver 5, as he's not even looking all that great this year. And Humphreys is what I think most people would put Humphreys and De'Ami Brown above him. So
here's one,
looking at wide receiver 5, but this is somebody who was put into action and looked fairly decent, looked good enough to get himself a contract. He, I believe, is actually, I think, the second or third highest paid wide receiver on the team right now.
You're talking about Cam?
Yes, Cam Sims.
Yeah. Because he's
can't talk about Steven Sims Jr. anymore. He's in Buffalo.
I didn't know if you're talking about,
he got picked up within less than 48 hours.
I didn't know if you're talking about.
Do you think that's going to come back to bite Washington in the rear?
No, he's not going to be there that long because he's only there because everybody's not vaccinated in the receiver room. That's why. Seriously.
Yeah, it's the only reason. He's just a camp body.
He's a camp body for this preseason game, and
And that's what he should have been here for the last few years, but we just didn't have enough talent to make him a camp body, to make him an end of the roster guy.
I think that he was he was a solid pick as a rookie. Looked exciting as a rookie. Sophomore season didn't look as good. And
he's just a jag.
He's finding employment somewhere else. So there's a lot of potential there. He kind of reminds me a little bit, not skill wise, but kind of in that same kind of game, like ability of like Brian Quick, right? Or Brandon Quick.
Whichever one Brian of the Quicks. Quick. Yeah.
Brian Quick, yeah. So that guy could show flashes sometimes, but then was just so frustrating. And Steven Sims Jr. is the same kind of he broke. We saw it in one of the camps. The guy straight up just broke ankles and has that speed, that excitement. But then it's just like he makes bonehead plays, like dropping a pass. Once he dropped that pass, I think in the second preseason game, I'm pretty sure everybody knew. Like, okay, you just dropped your chance to be on this team. Right. Hey, that was your contract.
What do you think of this hot take that I've been hearing a lot lately, in that as soon as Curtis Samuel comes back, that they're going to cut Adam Humphreys?
Nah, dog.
Oh, yeah. I don't.
Curtis Samuel's going to be a gadget guy. I don't know. He's going to be a gadget guy. He's going to line up outside, inside, jet sweep, backfield as a running back. Like, if he's back there, you're going to need a slot receiver still. That's Adam Humphreys. I think we're going to be fine. Burgundy and gold.
No, you're good.
Okay.
Adam, you're clear that way. Okay. Trust was definitely looking at us like, hey, they're about to get me. They're about to get me.
Yeah,
no.
Like
I think what it comes down to is Humphreys isn't obviously competing with Curtis Samuel. Humphreys is competing with Dax Milne.
Right. And I've also heard
that's the spot that it.
Yeah, and I've also heard.
And I don't think Dax Milne is somebody who's going to make the 53. I think he's going to make the practice squad.
I've just heard also the saying that we should keep Dax Milne over Humphreys because Dax Milne is cheaper. I mean, he's cheaper for
obviously
a couple $1,000.
Obviously.
I know, right?
Like, whatever. Speaking of hot takes, did you guys hear that Dwayne Haskins
Burgundy and gold?
Comment? That's because I was talking about Dwayne Haskins.
Yeah, it's because you don't need to bring up Dwayne Haskins on this podcast. We brought him up way entirely too much in the Philadelphia podcast. We are done talking about Dwayne Haskins here. He is dead to us. May he rest in wonderful heaven up there in Pittsburgh. That's all we care about.
He just can't wait to talk to media to take shots at us. Like his most recent comment was he's loving it because the way Mike Tomlin is preparing him a full week in advance with the scouting of the opposite team. He's never had that happen before.
Oh, right,
like you couldn't do that here.
Right.
Like you couldn't do that here. That's some absolute garbage.
Happened here.
They never prepared him.
I love myself some Mike Tomlin. When there was rumors that Washington was going to trade for Mike Tomlin, I was actually excited about that.
Right.
Yeah. I really thought it was going to be. I was just like, let's do this. Let's absolutely do this. But let's not forget. This is the coach who had, I'm not going to call him a star player, but Juju is a good player who is dancing on fields and doing all sorts of social media stuff. So the guy who will not be named is perfect fit there. Take your selfies, go out clubbing, wear your mask still because you need to do that, you goofus.
Right.
Yeah. But anyways, that's the last we're going to talk about him. In fact, actually, why don't we move on to do we want to save preseason predictions for our dollar segment in postgame? I didn't actually break it down for our listeners here, but so just to let you know, we're going to do this pregame talk. We will have an interview with Jamual Forrest, who is you're going to find out more about him when we do that interview. That's coming up during the game, and then we're going to be talking Mystics and stuff in the post game as well. So, do we want to save the dollar segments for later? Yep. So, do we want to save predictions for later?
What kind of predictions for the game? Just for the game?
Yeah. Let's save it for later. Yeah. So we'll put it in the dollar section there. For now, let's go ahead and get over to the podcast host for Trap or Dive. That's Derek Forrest right here on Ref the District.
No, it's not Derek Forrest. It's Jamual Forrest.
It is Jamual Forrest. We're going to make that joke, though.
Say that.
We're going to make that joke here in just a little bit. Joining us here on Ref the District, it is the host of Trap or Dive podcast. You can also find him on Twitch, LetMualTellIt, and he's not related to Derek Forrest. This is Jamual Forrest. How's it going?
Hey, everything's good, man. You know, like I said, we just talked about it for a quick second. I swear, if I was talking about Derek Forrest, if I was related to him the way I was talking about him, I'm sure we wouldn't be family anymore.
Well, what were you saying?
Invited to the barbecue.
Hey, well, look, man. Look, I'll put it this way. The man was blocking people on Twitter just for mentioning him, and to my surprise, I escaped it. But when we'll talk about it, I've never seen a person bite so hard on a play fake, and to the fact that the pass was thrown and he didn't even realize it was a fake until the pass was thrown. I've never seen anything like it, and I didn't let it go for like 24 to 48 hours. So I'm surprised I wasn't blocked.
He might as well have just run to the sidelines. He kept following that ball so far.
Hey, look, 95 was probably about a mile away. He could have just kept going. You know, figure out where to go from there. It wasn't that far away.
Strategic though for him to block. Do you think it's childish, or do you think it's he needs to block out all that negative stuff to focus on himself? Do you think maybe it's that? Do we give him the benefit of the doubt?
Hey, Nathan, I'm actually glad that you asked that question because I ain't gonna lie to you, I think it's childish. And the reason why I think it's childish is because when you're in the position that you're in, and not only you being in the position that you're in, but you're a rookie. You're not even a veteran in the league, and for some reason, you're blocking people showing that the pressure is getting to you already, or you just want to block out negativity. I understand that part, but it comes with the game. So how many people are you going to block after you search your name and figure out how many people was talking about you? Like, do you want to look for the negativity, or do you want to just go ahead and focus on your game? Because you know for a fact, if you're blocking people, you had to play bad. You couldn't have played that good if you out there looking for your name and saying, all right, I gotta find the good in what people were saying. But while I look for that good, let me go ahead and block everybody who was talking trash about me.
Excellent. So we're going to transition from not just Derek Forrest, but also the rookies that were also drafted in this late round. And I think maybe as Washington fans, we had our hopes up high, right? Cam Curl was a hit last year. He still looks good this year. And now you have Shaka Toney, you have Bradley King, who is actually playing reasonably well. And then you have someone like Derek Forrest, who's not, right? Shaka Toney is another person who you really haven't seen, ball out in preseason, haven't really heard much from camp. Did we set our expectations too high for these end of the drafts players?
I personally think yes and no. Depends on how deep in the draft you want to go. Derek Forrest in the 5th round was not a good pick. That's like, even when we picked them, I was like, who? Like, what did he do with Cincinnati? Oh, okay, cool. But it was also like Cincinnati. No shade to them, but it was like they aren't like a BCS or like a top whatever. So yeah, I think the Cam Curl and the couple other guys who we picked up in late rounds that blossomed, I think that got us, hooked and expect that every single draft. And this year might not be that way. So yes.
And James Smith-Williams last year too. He was a 7th rounder, I think, and he's a solid backup, right? So it is kind of one of those things where you almost expect nowadays for these late round guys to hit. When you had Trey Quinn, who we all thought was going to be a great
Mr. Irrelevant.
Yeah, we thought.
Mr. Irrelevant.
We thought, but he wasn't. And then this year you've got guys. Dax Milne seems to be performing quite well. And
People
of course,
fall in love with Dax the same way they're falling in love with Trey Quinn.
right?
Let's hope this time it pans out.
And then also the undrafted free agent Patterson, of course, has been great. But I wanted to ask Jamal about the safety specifically. Then, if you obviously don't like Forrest, who do you think are going to be the 4 or maybe even 5 safeties who come out on the 53?
Okay. All right. So one quick thing. It's not that I don't like Forrest, but what I will say right now is that he looks lost. And things are moving a little bit too fast for him. I will give him credit for the one play at the goal line where he forced the fumble, and they kind of BS them on that penalty. It's when things happen so quickly and somebody's diving them, trying to make a play and score a touchdown. Forrest, the safety, the defender, they're going to react the way he did, and every single time is going to look like that. You cannot call the flag for something like that. He made a play. He made a football play, forced the fumble. Give him credit, but Forrest is a person who's playing a little bit slower than I anticipated, that many people anticipated. He looks lost out there, and in that sense, I'm just thinking that he's a practice squad guy, but for sure, to answer your question, Chris, he's not. I'm not seeing him as that 4 people that you're going to ask me about. And I think right now I'm looking at Landon Curl, obviously the guy from Miami who continues to slip my mind every single time I think about him. McCain, and then you're looking at Everett or Reeves. And that's kind of where you're at with it. I mean, obviously Landon Collins is still in there. So I mean, you're looking at what? Like, Dakota, what are you doing? You're looking at Landon, Jeremy, DeShazer, Cameron, and then Bobby. That's 5. Truth be told, you can keep 5 and still get away with things. You got to maneuver a little bit in terms of your cornerbacks and your defensive line, specifically your defensive tackles. You got to maneuver there a little bit. But that's kind of where I'm at. It's like you can keep 5 or you can keep 4. But Derek Forrest is somebody who I don't see on the roster in terms of making the final 53. The only reason why I'm harping on him is because there has been projections of him making that final 53. I don't see it. And if it's the notion of him being a draft pick, you kind of see Ron Rivera actually made a point. If it wasn't today, it was a couple of days ago. He made a point where he was saying, look, draft picks, look, we understand that we drafted these guys, right? But it doesn't matter what the situation is or what the circumstances is behind this particular player that we have on our roster. If we understand that we made a mistake, or if we understand that there's something that has to go on with these guys, and they're not fit right now to be on this final roster, then we're going to go ahead and understand and admit our mistake and move on. So with that being said, I see 4 to 5 safeties on this roster, the final 53. As in the ones that I mentioned, I mean, they're obviously that's not going to change at all. Thank God Troy Apke's out of the conversation because like we don't have to worry about him in terms of at least safeties. But the cornerback
loves himself some trap key.
Hey, put it this way, Trev. I seen you today as we're recording this. This is Monday. Excuse me. I seen you today. You know, getting a little excited over the plays that he was making in practice. I think he's. I'll put it this way with Apke, because I know we asked about the safety thing. I think Apke has had sporadic moments in practice, both good and both bad. There's been highlights of him playing bad, but then there's also been those moments that you've seen today, right, Trev, where he's had those high moments where you kind of really didn't expect it because the perception of him is that he's just so terrible. So when you kind of see these things with Troy, knowing that he's the athlete that he is, there's hope.
He's got a lot of speed. He definitely is somebody who on special teams you can rely on as a gunner to really, get down there and limit the big plays. So I mean, he's a sneaky pick for the 53.
Maybe he's born to play cornerback and not safety like he's been doing his whole career. Maybe he's just finding out that he can excel at cornerback.
Name the last last white cornerback in the NFL.
Jason Sehorn.
Everybody, I'm about to say everybody goes to Jason.
Well,
Everybody goes to Jason.
Well, help me out here.
Adam
Do
Archuleta.
you think there's
Oh man.
so many bad names?
I will say this though, that pass interference play that he had in the game against the Bengals, I give him credit literally up until the moment in which the receiver made an attempt at a catch. Like the coverage was really good. Everything was fine up until the receiver tried to make a catch. He didn't turn his head around. He panicked in a sense. He started looking for the receiver, looking for his arms. Now he starts interfering with the guy, and there goes the penalty. I give him credit for the coverage. He did everything right. And then he just panicked. He had no reason to panic. He did everything right. So I will say that one moment that we all seen, that one penalty, he played pretty well in that instance, and that kind of shows like his growth and development at cornerback. But yeah, you can't panic like that in a position like that, especially given that you're in a hot seat of sorts.
You're on the bubble roster, on the roster bubble there. I do have to agree with Trev. I think that he's probably better suited for cornerback because he's used to chasing the wide receivers instead of actually playing on top of them. So
that's just me.
So let's get off track. All right. Hey, Jamal, I have a question for you too now.
Yeah.
So today is Monday. 5 more cuts happen on Tuesday, which is tomorrow. We saw that Steven Sims was released, but not part of those cuts. Do you see any wide receivers being cut for Tuesday's cut?
I'll put it this way. If there's any receiver that gets cut, is going. Do y'all see this dog? Bro, what is up? What is up with her? Oh my god, this is Dakota. Yeah. Yes, a special guest. A 2-year-old husky. 2-year-old husky. She hears me talking to other people and she gets jealous. I just don't understand it. But if there's any receiver that is in danger of getting cut on Tuesday, or at least before the deadline, it'll be Isaiah Wright. If you think about it, there hasn't been any noise about him. You haven't seen that much playing time with him. And matter of fact, I think I could still pull it up as I'm talking. Nikki Giavala of the Washington Post, she posts the snap counts for each player after every single game. And I can pull it out in about 2 seconds. But the thing with Isaiah Wright, and even in preseason in general, you got to understand that people have their opportunities and playing times, and that kind of speaks a lot to where they are in the nature of the team. And look at it. I'm looking right now. There is not one person named Isaiah Wright in the snap count.
Oh man, that's pretty bad.
Wow.
That was kind of where Kelvin Harmon sat after that first game, and he got released right after that. And that's the same thing. I think where Wright might survive Tuesday's cut, which this will air after the cuts have been made, is that he still has practice squad eligibility as one of the junior guys. So that's where I think that he benefits to maybe survive this next cut. But I think as far as in the 53, he's good as gone. But I think that practice squad spot is where he might end up. But yeah, you're right. Isaiah Wright hasn't been heard from really in camp at all. He changed his number because he was 83 last year. I don't like the teen number on him.
It's throwing me off too. And I hate to sound like an old man, but I completely agree. It's annoying. They need to revert back to what they was doing. Yes. Yeah. Change it back. Change it back. It's throwing me off.
Well, so what do you make of today? After practice today, Ron Rivera was asked about guys, and he specifically mentioned Isaiah Wright about how well he's been playing this preseason, or in camp anyway, in training camp. Now we haven't seen it.
Look at his face.
But he picked out guys that you're like, oh yeah, we've heard a lot about him. Oh yeah, we've heard a lot about him. Oh, and Isaiah Wright.
Yeah.
So what do you make of that?
Hey Chris, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. all of this is fluff, man. You're never going to hear Ron Rivera say anything negatively about a guy in his pressers. The only thing that you got to pay attention to when it comes to somebody that you're kind of sketchy about is what does he say about the person, and what did he say in particular about what he needs to work on, or how much information does he give, or how little information does he give about a player. And when it comes to Isaiah Wright, it's what Ron Rivera is telling us, is it matching up in the game opportunities that he has? He's not given that many opportunities. It's been 2 games. He's not been given that many opportunities. The first game that he's played against the New England Patriots, he has had some opportunities. I don't know how many snaps. I can't really recall the snap percentage for that particular game. But what did he do in that game to tell you that he's actually warranted the nod that Ron Rivera gave him? I can't say that he's warranted anything. So while I understand what he's saying, Chris, I'm not entirely too sure that I believe it. It was one player last week that he kind of spoke on where I didn't bite it. I just wish I remembered the name, because this is a perfect way to bring it up, a perfect example. But he's done this a few times. But what I will say, the biggest one is actually last year, Dwayne Haskins.
I talk about it all the time.
There you go. There you go.
The biggest one is Dwayne Haskins. He does it all the time. Nathan, you got a big dog, but yeah, he does it all the time. But I know, I can tell that by the excitement. We're on the same page with this one.
Yeah, but the difference though is that people ask him specifically about Dwayne Haskins or ask him about certain players. Nobody asked him about Isaiah Wright. He just volunteered that particular name.
Yeah, I wonder why he did that.
That's what I didn't understand.
Maybe he did stick out
right?
that particular practice. I think he actually didn't say Isaiah Wright. He did just call out numbers, I believe, if I read correctly from some of those tweets.
Well,
so, I mean, the same difference.
But
yeah, my thing with it is, it's coach speak, right? I'm right there with you, Jamal. You heard that with even Steven Sims Jr., where he was just like, yeah, we really believe in him, but he wasn't going to fit with this team, so we wanted to give him a chance to get on another team. Okay, you cut the guy. You cut the guy before the final cuts. He wasn't going to make this team. If you're employing people like Isaiah Wright, Steven Sims Jr. wasn't doing what you needed him to do. And I think you saw the same thing with Kelvin Harmon, where a lot of fans loved him, but he's been out there and no team's picking him up. So this is coach speak. Now, I do want to dive a little bit into that coach speak, because you brought up the praise elements, and Jamal, you specifically were like, naming off some of the elements there. Sammis Reyes is a guy that he talked about, but says that he wants to see him more on the field. What do you think that does for Sammis Reyes? And we obviously a lot of people are invested in this, as this is somebody who's never played football. A lot of the ladies like looking at him.
That dude's jacked, bro. He is.
Fair.
He's pretty jacked.
Strong.
So
SKRNG.
Yeah, he knocked that DB out solid just by running into him. But what do you think Sammis Reyes' chances are of making this roster?
I think this is another good question. And before I give my response, I will ask you all, just in y'all opinion, what are y'all initial thoughts? Like, if you had to give one sentence on Sammis Reyes, where you all at with this guy? At least in one game, because obviously he missed the Cincinnati game. But where are you all with Sammis Reyes? Because he's an intriguing guy, and a lot of people have varying opinions on him. Practice squad, 53, in between, things like that. So if y'all had one sentence to give on Sammis, where are y'all at with him?
I'll start, and I'll say he's a project, and hopefully he can remain a project with this team.
I'm going to piggyback that and say he's a developmental player, and I want us to develop him for sure.
I'm 3 for 3 here. I mean, I do have $1 writing on him making the 53. I don't know that he'll make that, though. I do think that he'll end up on the practice squad. But I think that this is Sammis Reyes has the raw potential to be a quality tight end in the NFL for 7 years, but that's raw potential. So that's he's not there yet.
Okay. So as we said a few times already, coach speak. And I think when we talk about coach speak, we have to remember, when we hear what the coach is saying, what are we seeing at the same time in the games that are being played? Ron Rivera said Sammis Reyes Dakota, bro, you are messing up my moment. Sammis Reyes may be the most physical tight end that we have on the roster. He said that after one game of watching him. And we all know what he did against the Patriots. He was mauling people in the run game. Like, there was no doubt about it. I will ask you this. Who on, because I know I got warned, I got to watch my mouth. Who do you all know on this roster right now that is capable of being a dominant factor in the run game at the tight end position? There is not any other person. Logan Thomas, he can't block. Ricky Seals-Jones, he's converted wide receiver to a tight end. Then you got John Bates. I will respect him in the sense that he's the only true natural tight end, but he has some work to do in terms of being a more consistent blocker, and that's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But Sammis Reyes came out day one and dominated. Like, it was on film. Everybody saw it, things like that. And Ron Rivera stamped him after the game as one of the most physical guys. I don't think Washington has that element right now where you can afford to cut him and hope he goes to a practice, or hope you can claim him to the practice squad, anything like that. Because if you need somebody who can, at least while they're developing as a pass catcher, if you need somebody who can run block and blocking a pass game, inline tight end, blocking a pass game or even run game, as an inline tight end, this is your guy. This is your guy. You need to see a little bit more, and I'm in that same boat. You need to see a little bit more, and he's back practicing this week. He's been active, so you need to see a little bit more against the Baltimore Ravens, and I can't wait, fellas. I can't wait to see what he looks like against the Baltimore Ravens, but you have to understand that he has something going for him in his physicality, his size, his strength, and if he can show out again against the Ravens and he plays well, then yes, he is bottom line, unquestioned, a lock for this final 53.
Oof. Jamal, I think you're the very first person besides Nathan, because of his bet, who's actually definitively been like, I think he makes it. You make great points. I didn't even think of it that way. If he's just used as a blocking tight end instead of a passing at the beginning, that'd be fine.
But again, it all depends on how much time we get to see him against the Ravens. Like I said, it does come down to this Ravens game, because you have to see more, and I think that's fair. But yes, I do agree. Like, if he comes out and shows the same type of physicality against the Ravens, yes, he's a lot. I definitely believe that.
Awesome. Well, what are some of the other things you are expecting to see from the Ravens game? And try to do this in about a minute. See if we can. You limited us to one sentence on Sammis Reyes. I'm going to limit you to 1 minute.
All right. I respect
from this Baltimore game.
Okay. All right. So I'll be quick, because this one's gonna be simple, man. It's gonna be the offense. There's gonna be a lot of people who doesn't necessarily have that belief that the struggles in the preseason is going to translate or carry into the regular season. And I think for my side, I kind of tend to lean that way and agree. But there is certain instances in which you kind of got to take into account when it comes to specifics of an offense and how they maneuver. So in between the 20s, the Washington offense, Ryan Fitzpatrick and company, they've been moving quite well. But when you talk about the red zone offenses and their inability to execute when the field is shortened, things become kind of a more significant issue. And you kind of wonder where the chemistry is. You kind of wonder where the accuracy is in terms of like the precision and understanding where to go. The timing between Ryan Fitzpatrick and Adam Humphries is not where it needs to be right now. It's been shown throughout the first two games. And obviously, like that, the would-be interceptions against Cincinnati, we don't even know whose fault that is. And that's just being honest. Like, people want to put it to Fitzpatrick, but guess what? Adam Humphries stopped. And Ryan Fitzpatrick thought he was going to continue on this drag route. Things like that happens. But you got to figure out the bottom line. Where did the communication, where was it missed? So things like that in terms of the offense, man, that's the most important thing that I'm looking forward to. I have a lot more faith in the defense, so I'm not necessarily going to go too far into that side. I won't go into that side at all because I have a minute and I'm being timed.
We're a little bit over. We're in overtime right now.
Yeah, so that offense is the main thing that I'm looking forward to, and seeing how they respond after the first two games where they had 6 drives and basically just they couldn't put up any points.
Jamal, we want to thank you here from Ref the District for joining us today. Again, you can catch Jamal on the Trap or Dive podcast on Apple or on his Twitch, LetMualTellIt. And this is Jamual Forrest. Thank you again for joining us here on Ref the District, man. We really do appreciate your company.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely, man. And like I told you, I'll be quick. I definitely appreciate it, and I just want to say this on the show too, man. I always appreciate the opportunity to talk ball with everybody, and any opportunity that I'm given. Obviously this won't be the last time we link up. So again, appreciate the invite, and we will be in touch, my fellas.
One more time, a big thank you to Jamual Forrest for joining us from Trap or Dive podcast. Big appreciation. It was a great conversation with him, and it really, it was unfortunate we had the time run short on us. So, because I'm sure we can talk to him over and over and over again, which I'm sure we will, because he's a cool dude, and we'll have him on another time.
Hey, I got an idea, Nathan. The next time that we have these interviews, right, where we did it earlier and then we play it, we should have a separate camera on us that's going on so people can see the behind the scenes of what's going on while the interview's playing. We might lose our FCC license or whatever it is that allows us to broadcast. There's a lot of
There's definitely a lot of craziness. So Trevor right now is drafting.
I'm doing Big Ben.
Yeah. So he's currently drafting a fantasy team. I believe this is the Washington Football Team Pod League.
It didn't work.
Is this one you joined?
Yeah,
he's so distraught, folks. He can't even do it. I'm talking to him. I don't even keep registering anything.
It's the football garbage time.
Oh, garbage time.
It's football garbage time. Yeah,
so football garbage time fantasy from the known lover of fantasy football, Trevor Stores.
So I just picked Ryan Fitzpatrick as my quarterback. That's it.
Oh, there you go.
Hey, I think that's reasonable. I think that's reasonable. Now, not talking fantasy. In fact, I actually want to move us away from. We'll get into more football here in a little bit, but I wanted to talk about something I know that Trevor actually really does love, and that's our Washington Mystics.
Yeah.
And the return of Our Lady Liberty. I don't know if we can call her that because it's more Philadelphia, but. So what do we think about the Mystics? I think there are a few games, out right now. They do need to go on a winning streak, but they have their all-star, player help them win a championship just a few years ago. Deladon is back in the house.
Back. Yes.
How are we feeling about the Mystics?
I'm excited just for her on that level. She missed 682 days of basketball, which is almost 2 full seasons, with some back complications, but she's back. She got 22 minutes in her debut on Sunday, 5 for 11, 16 points, 3 rebounds. They didn't win, but that's fine. She got back into the rhythm of things. Like you said, Nathan, they're only a couple of games out of the 8th spot, the final spot in the playoffs. It's like less than 10 games left, so they got to make a big push. It's going to be hard. Tina Charles just went out for an injury with the glute, 3 to 5 days. That's going to be hard to do. So, but I'm just happy for her that she's back to doing the thing that she loves to do the most.
But they came back. They came back the next game, her second game back, and whooped them. And then I'm looking right now. They're playing right now. They're up 43-34 at halftime right now. So that's good. And I think they're only a half game out of that 8th playoff spot. And in the WNBA, it's a little bit different. They have They have the East and the West, but it's a one league or one. I don't know how you say it. They just line them up. Whoever has the best records, 1 through 8, that's who gets in the playoffs, regardless of what division they're playing in. So they're only a half game.
I'm going to go ahead and preemptively call Burgundy and Gold because I've heard a couple of cracks there, and I definitely want Trevor to be able to join in on this conversation because personally, I think that really, unlike the NBA, where you slide into the playoffs, realistically, you're not going to make a lot of noise. The WNBA, it's almost like the NHL to me, where you get to the playoffs and now it's a whole new ball game. And I think that's especially true of the Mystics this year with getting Deladon back. You mentioned Tina Charles going to be out with an injury, but this team fully healthy can really do something in the playoffs. They just have to make it there.
But that's a struggle though. Like you said, when Trevor said Tina Charles is out for at least a couple of weeks with an injury, And Emma, I can't remember how Miesemann. She was the Olympian from, oh man, was she Dutch? I can't remember where she's from. She decided after the Olympics she wasn't going to come back. She's a starter, sharpshooter. They're going to miss her. And Tina Charles, and I don't know.
Yeah, she's another gold medalist too, Tina Charles. So it's going to be tough, but we can do it. Della Don, you save the season, Della Don.
We can hope. Do we want to put $1 on that as we transition to $1?
Yes.
In what way? What's the dollar?
Trevor's putting $1 down that Della Don is going to save their season.
What does that mean?
They're going to make the playoffs.
Oh, they're only half game out. Of course they're going to make the playoffs.
Okay, no. All right, they'll make it to the next round. Like they'll win first round.
They'll make it out of the first round?
Yes.
Oh, man, I don't want to bet against the Mystics. I don't want to put some bad juju on them, as you guys think actually exists out in the universe.
Wow, you do it to the football team.
Says the guy with this beat-up doll over here.
Yeah,
my damn
do it.
doll. No, because I think a player like Della Don can take over a playoff series and win it for them. So if they didn't have her, then you might have me at the dollar. No, I won't take it. Nathan, you want it?
No, okay. I think that I really do think that a healthy Mystics team is going to go deep into the playoffs. I think that they're talented enough. Hopefully Tina Charles comes back and we'll see what happens. There's something that happened in his fantasy draft apparently, as Trevor's got his mouth wide open.
What happened?
Yeah,
and shocked.
I missed my pick because I was talking Mystics, which is fine, but I ended up picking the Washington football team defense automatically. So.
All right, well, that's not the worst thing to happen. I am going to go ahead and put $1 down on Trevor not winning his fantasy.
No, I'm not taking that. No.
I'll take it. Nathan, I'll take it.
You're gonna bet on yourself, man. I love it. You got to bet on yourself.
That he's going to win the whole thing?
He's going to win.
Yeah.
You're going to win. Bet on yourself.
Bet on yourself.
You're not betting on yourself.
You're
betting on a bunch of other players to pull it out for you. All right, I'm putting it down.
He's still manager. He's in charge.
All right, Trevor.
Oh, dang, Stoner.
Our man here missed a pick, and he's gonna
win.
Sorry, I'm tuned in, but this is.
No, that's good. That's good. I love it.
Hey, I've been playing fantasy football so long that I have a picture of myself in 1991. That was probably before you guys were even born. In 1990,
not quite.
I was sitting at my desk in uniform. I was actually already in the military, sitting at my desk, and we used to do everything by hand back then. And there's a picture of me sitting there with the newspaper laid out,
stone tablets and
nothing's
chisels.
automatic. Right. And I'm sitting there, and by hand, I'm adding up the yards and their points and all that, and then we would hand them out to like in a little booklet, so everybody could see what the standings are and everything. That's how long I've been doing it. I've been doing it before there was all this easy online.
That was back when it was touchdown only, really, right? There was none of this PPR.
It was definitely not PPR.
Crazy. None of these crazy stats. It was essentially touchdown.
There was yards.
Yards, but
there was like
predominantly touchdown.
There was like negative points for fumbles lost.
Yeah.
And interceptions. I don't even know if they do that anymore.
They still do that now.
Missed field goals.
Most
was negative.
D-Hop would have got you.
Burgundy and gold.
D-Hop, burgundy and gold, man.
Because I'm talking D-Hop.
All right. Yeah, I told you. It's something about when you want to talk bad about the Washington football team in any manner, something technical is going to happen here on Ref the District. I'm telling you, Jason Wright, Ron Rivera, Julie Donaldson, they're all watching. They're like, nope. Can't have that. Can't have that. That doll is beyond creepy.
Hey,
okay, and why has it got to be a ginger? Why has it got to have orange hair?
I didn't
man?
That's buy it. It was sent to me, so I had no choice.
Bet you did.
I did not buy it.
I apologize to the listeners, people watching for my microphone. I'm really sorry. It'll be better by next show. I promise.
Yeah, we'll get a new one. All right,
it's all good. All right, so $1. Let's get away from the beat 'em up doll. That, yes, it was a gift for Stoner, but he has purposely chosen to bring it onto our show for some reason. And hey, Mama Stores is watching, and I'm telling you right now, like, it was unacceptable to put that on Mama Stores the last time we were all live together. It was a couple weeks ago.
Let me read to you what it says here. It says,
oh gosh,
whenever things don't go well, and you want to hit the wall and yell, here's a little damn it doll that you can't do without. Just grasp it firmly by the legs and find a place to slam it as you whack the stuffing out. Yell, damn it, damn it, damn it. I'm just doing what it says.
That's very sweet. That's very sweet. Anyway, so my dollar for the dollar bet.
Thank you.
Y'all ready for this?
I was like, I don't even know.
This is for the game. All
Yeah.
right.
Kyle Allen throws 2 touchdowns in this preseason game.
Wow.
I will take that. I will take that. And the reason why I'm going to take this is because the offense has scored what, 2 touchdowns this entire preseason. So we're going to double up just with Kyle Allen. Yeah, I'll take that.
Hey,
He threw the 2-point fade.
hey, Trev.
Yeah, AGG held on to that for ages. I think he might still be holding on to the ball.
Hey, Trevor.
Probably.
I'm with you on that one. Me and you against Nathan.
My man.
Okay.
I think he'll throw 2.
Okay.
Yeah, man, I got it. How about this? D-Hop kicks a 50-plus yarder.
Okay. He kicks it and makes it, or just kicks it?
Oh, damn it.
I was going to say.
You gotta get the damn it down.
That's a fair
I
point.
mean, I can kick one.
Yeah.
We all can kick one.
He makes a 50-plus
He makes a 50-plus yarder.
I'll take you on that.
I'm with Trevor on this
All
one.
right.
I'll take that one.
He
I
doesn't
don't think
make it
that
past
happens.
40, bro. In practice yesterday, he hit one off the upright from 40s. It's ridiculous.
All right. You guys are going to pay me for that.
Forward to the heart attacks that we're going to have with D-Hop.
Yeah.
I'm going to say here. I'm going to go out. This is a risky one. This is a true dollar bet now.
Okay.
Dax Milne will have the most receiving yards out of the wide receivers.
Yeah, I'll take that. Please, pretty please. Can I bet 5 on that?
It's dollar. It's only $1.
Yeah,
we're not even exchanging dollars.
Nathan,
This
take
is
his
fun.
$5 from him. Say yes.
You think it's gonna? Are you with me?
I'm with you, Nathan. Yes.
There we go.
Yeah.
We'll both take his dollar.
Think
don't-
about it. AGG is slow. He's not going to get that many yards. Dax will get all his yards after the catch.
Leading receiver.
We all predicted that the starters aren't going to play that much.
Yeah.
Who else are you going to play besides the guys at the end of the roster? And Dax Milne is one of them that you want to see more of before you stash him on the practice squad. This guy, I'm not saying he's going to go off. Actually, you know what? Maybe I should make a prediction like Stone made on the first dollar for the preseason. He's going to ball out with 5 catches and 61 yards.
Hey, did I not nail it? Did I
No,
not
you
nail it?
didn't nail it. He didn't do
No,
that.
not even close. Steven Sims Jr.
one
wasn't
catch.
even close.
My point was that nobody is going to ball out in the first game, and that if somebody had 62 yards, then it would be balling out.
I wish I could run the tape right now because you literally made a dollar bet saying that Steven Sims Jr. was going to ball out
Incorrect.
5 catches, and you defined balling out as 5 catches for 61 yards. You can't sit there and do that. And Burgundy and Gold, before you start talking with me here on Trevor, because I know for a fact you're going to get in on Stoner for this baloney take.
I have the proof on my phone of the bet. And I did not say that Steven Sims was going to have 62 yards. My bet was that nobody was going to have 62 yards because the point was 62 yards in the first preseason game is balling out for Steven Sims. And he was not going to do that. And I won that bet.
I did say that a receiver was. I was really counting on a long bomb there, and that never ended up coming. But okay, I do recall that portion. But you did define balling out as 5 catches for 61 yards, and you did think Steven Sims Jr. was capable of doing that. Mm-hmm. And I was the one who said someone will have more than 61 yards, and that's the bet that you
Thank
took.
you.
So, but Dax Milne will be the leading wide receiver. I don't want to stress this. This is wide receiver. So if there's a running back or if there's a tight end who catches more or does more yards, that doesn't count. I said out of the wide receivers, Dax Milne is going to have the most receiving yards.
Okay. All right.
I got a dollar bet again.
All right.
We end the Ravens 19 preseason game winning streak on Saturday. We end that.
Okay.
So that means we win.
Right. So, Trev, WFT wins.
Yep.
Anybody want that?
Nathan does.
I mean, I do. I just want to know if anybody wants to come with me.
Yeah. Who's coming with me, man?
I'm going to say Baltimore wins.
Yes, sir.
Oh.
You're with me.
Can
Stoner
you
and
explain
Nick.
the reason why?
One, I don't think Ron cares about
yeah.
that streak, and because they don't care, they're going to be playing just to they're going to be doing a glorified practice.
Oh.
And I think the Ravens do care.
No, I don't.
And like
I think
Ron Rivera did the Russell Westbrook. That's interesting.
Well, yeah, he has to say that, but I think with the players that we put on the field, they're going to think it's a real regular season game because they're trying to get a roster spot. So they're going to play their hearts out, I believe, in this third.
So is Baltimore. Is it what? Baltimore doesn't have anybody trying to make a roster?
But I think our bench is better than Baltimore.
Oh, name me one guy on Baltimore's bench.
Well, it was Sean Wade, but they just traded him today to New England, which was they traded their rookie.
Right.
Like, how do you?
Give me another.
So, another that's better.
No, you can name any bench guy from Baltimore.
Any bench player. I
don't
really
know how
couldn't
ours
even...
are better than theirs. We don't even know what they got.
Come on, man! It's the fan coming out of me. That's
I know exactly.
It's a battle of the Beltway.
And that's
I want Washington to win. I want Washington to win. I just don't think it's going to happen. I think that we're going to see this silly streak continue, and it's going to be ridiculous.
I have another dollar bet. My last one for the night.
Sure.
We put up over 20 points.
Whoa! Way to go out on a limb there. 20 whole points.
How many times have they done that this preseason? Heck, how many times have they done that in the last 2 or 3 years?
Okay, but,
I'm with Trevor. I think they're actually going to score more than 20 points, and I think that this is a reasonable bet.
Well,
Thank you, Nathan.
That's not reasonable. 20 points.
So you think they're going to score more than 20?
Philly 35. Patriots scored 35 with their no name. Why can't we do that?
All right, here's one for you. Here's a really, really, really good one. All right. Jamin Davis. Ready? Jamin Davis. INT.
Interception.
Huh? Who wants a piece of that?
I'll take that. I don't think he gets an interception.
I don't think he even plays.
Are you crazy? He's playing.
They need him to
three-quarters of
get
the
game reps. They need to give him game reps. I love that Taylor jersey, by the way. If you're watching the visuals and not just listening to us on the podcast, that Sean Taylor jersey is fire.
Do you want that for a bet, Trevor? That Jamin Davis doesn't play?
Yep.
I'll take that. Jamin
Tomorrow's
Davis.
payday. I'm giving out all kinds of dollars.
You might want to get one.
You need to buy a mic, burgundy and gold. Burgundy and gold. I think he missed a pick again. We're gonna let him fix out his mic. Let me give another dollar here. The Washington football team will have at least 3 sacks.
I'll take that bet, Nate.
You don't think they'll have 3?
But they'll have less than 3.
No, I'll take.
You think that they're gonna have less than 3? I'm saying they're at least gonna have 3. 3 or more, it's mine. You think 1 or 2 or 0?
I'll take 2. I'll go with 2.
All right.
Okay, so he's gonna take the under on that. So he's gonna take that dollar bet.
All right.
If you're listening to the show right now, go ahead and hop in with your dollar bet. Mama Store is getting on this action if you want some. No money is actually exchanged during this. This is all friendly banter for our dollar.
It's not a real dollar. It's a dollar.
Not a real dollar.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm picking kickers
Stoner,
right now.
you got another one for us?
I'm out. I'm out of bets.
You're out. I'm good. I think that
right.
3 sack one. All right, let's do game predictions. Obviously, I'm picking Baltimore. You 2 picked Washington.
No, I picked Baltimore.
You picked Baltimore?
Yeah. Trev's got Washington football team wins. Both you and I say no.
Okay, so both of us are picking Baltimore. Trevor, what score prediction do you give us for this first game? For this
Washington 26, Baltimore 17.
I was so gonna laugh after your 20. They were gonna score 20 points bet if you're like Washington 19.
Right, I would have laughed.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna go with my usual, which is taking the
Yeah,
exact
flip it.
opposite of Trevor, and I'm going to go 26-17 Baltimore.
I think we're going to do 28-24 Baltimore.
All right.
Washington scores more than 20 points, but Baltimore takes home the victory in that 20-game win streak. We'll see who is correct on our day after reckoning, and you can catch that Sunday night at 7. We'll be live here on our YouTube channel. In fact, we're working towards potentially upgrading our services, and you might find us elsewhere. So if that's the case, just be on the lookout for our Twitter account. That's at Ref the District, that you can find us there, and you can listen to this audio version anywhere you can listen to podcasts. I mentioned Apple, iTunes. If you listen to us on Apple Podcasts, please leave us a rating and a comment so other people can find us. And we've got our hand raised here, and it's our one and only Trev. What's going on, man?
So Nathan, for green guys like you, what do you guys listen to podcasts on if you don't have Apple or iTunes?
You can, you know what? I'm glad you can mention that, because you can also listen to Ref the District on Spotify, on Google Podcasts, or even your Amazon devices. So if you were to do this, let me say, I'm going to try not to wake mine up in the corner of the room, but if you were to say, Alexa, play Ref the Podcast, Ref the District, the latest episode will pop up. These get shared almost immediately afterwards, and it's she did listen. She was listening to me. Alexa, stop. So funny. Woo! They're always listening, folks. Maybe not the best thing to do to get one of those. But hey, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple, you can also get us there. I'm Nathan Perry. That's Trevor doing another dance, and it's Stoner giving us our salute out of here. Until next time, be a fan.
We love Washington, and we some die-hard fans. Yeah, we are. And you know we keep it on 10. Let's talk about the offense. 1, 2, 3, let's go.
And they gifted.
We are
Nathan and the Stoner. Yeah, that's Ref the District.
that's the podcast.
Come on now and join us.
You join it.